friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about a brand new product coming from ColourPop this week. These are the Sweet Cheeks cheek palettes, blush and highlight quads, very much in the same style as the Sweet Life eyeshadow quads. The styling is similar, but of course these are quite a bit larger. I'm going to do a real close-up comparison for you here in just a minute. These cheek palettes are launching on Thursday, April 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. ColourPop has not confirmed the price yet. I'm gonna guess that these will be around the $12-ish mark, just based on the fact that the little eyeshadow quads in the similar style are $9 a piece. I'm guessing that these are gonna be somewhere around that $12, maybe $14 mark. Once ColourPop officially confirms the price, I will update that information down in the description box. Definitely don't forget, your girl has an affiliate code now. I'm sorry, I'm still really excited about that. This is an affiliate code. It's just Amanda. I do earn a commission if you decide to use it. Obviously, no pressure. You will save 10% on some purchases. Some things are excluded. I never really know which things it's going to be. I'm going to give you a close-up look at each one of these palettes. I'm going to show you swatches that are more sheared out, and I'm also going to show you some super layered up, really dense swatches. That way you can see these are quite buildable. You're probably going to end up wearing them more sheared out, but who knows? We'll look at both anyway. I'm also going to show you an application demo. I'm wearing the Sugar Frosted Cheek palette today, so I'll show you me applying all 4 shades from this palette. We have a lot to see, so let's get a close-up look at each one of these palettes first. First thing I want to show you is a close-up look at these cheek palettes versus the Sweet Life eyeshadow quads that released not too long ago, because these are in very similar packaging, and I think when you just see one without the other next to it, it's difficult to tell the size difference. But the cheek palettes are quite a bit larger. They are 32mm pans and the eyeshadows are 22mm pans. And these pans are glued in. You can see on the back here, these aren't just going to pop right out like a regular magnetic pan would for you. Now I want to take a close-up look at each one of these 5 palettes individually. Let's start with Sugar Frosted. I'm going to show you the outer packaging. I want to show you how the shades are labeled here on the back. And I want to give you a close-up look at the pans and 2 types of swatches. So we have a lot to look at on each palette here. I do want to point out each one of the highlighters is a Super Shock formula. Then the other pan on top is always a satin, and then the 2 pans on the bottom are always matte finishes. That's the layout for all of these palettes, and the only Super Shock formula in all of these palettes is the highlighter. Hopefully that made sense. 1 Super Shock, 3 pressed powder, and of those 3 pressed powder, 1 is a satin and 2 are matte. That's the layout of all of these palettes. Now I'm showing you 2 different types of swatches here because I want you to see how much these can be different, built up, or sheared out. So when you see the swatch on my arm, that's obviously me in my little beauty room, and that's under a ring light. That's going to be most similar to the fluorescent lighting that you would have in your office or your classroom or the grocery store, wherever it is you're going out in public inside a building. And then the second set of swatches where you see them really, really built up, the lighting there is a mixture of warm soft boxes and sunlight. So people will often ask, which one looks the most like real life, or something like that. What do these look like in real life? And the truth is, we're encountering a bunch of different types of lighting situations in real life all the time. So I'm really interested in showing you, especially for a cheek product, what these look like in different lighting scenarios, because frankly, you will be inside and outside probably while you wear this blush. So you can see even my skin looks warmer in the sunlight / warm softbox pictures, and my skin looks really, really washed out in the ring light lighting. But all of these swatches were done within a couple days of each other, and none of them are, really overly edited or messed with coloring wise. It's just, you know, stuff looks different. Your skin looks different in different lighting situations. Anyway, I feel like that was a really, really long ramble. I also want to point out some of these palettes, I think you can see when you look at the close-up shot that there are a couple of pans here where I started to get a little bit of hard pan. But keep in mind, I have been swatching the heck out of these, as you can see from all of these different myriad of swatches you're looking at here. So, you know, part of that is partially just me using, you know, dipping my finger in instead of a brush, but it's worth noting, you know, we're getting a little bit of hard pan already, and I've only had these in hand for about a week. So just something to look out for. I also want to point out that there are a handful of re-promoted shades that I recognize in these cheek palettes. I know that I own Smoke and Whistles separately as a single. I'm sure that I recognize Avalon. So I think some of these Super Shock highlighters are being re-promoted in these palettes. I am not nearly as familiar with the cheek product names as I would be with the eyeshadows. So I'm not sure if I'm missing a whole ton of re-promotes that I just don't recognize, but it seems like most of these are new shades. I did want to just sort of throw it out there that there are a couple of re-promotes or Super Shock highlighter shades that we have seen already in the past. If you recognize any of the blushes, definitely leave a comment and let me know. I clearly need to brush up on my ColourPop cheek products knowledge. I do hope that all of this rambling has made sense, and I hope that showing you all these different types of swatches is going to be helpful for you, especially since I'm not doing comparisons in this video. Frankly, I just don't have a super duper huge cheek product range to be able to do useful comparisons, especially not for these deeper palettes. So I am sorry if you were looking forward to comparisons. I just don't have nearly as an extensive cheek product collection as I do for eyeshadows and eyeshadow palettes. So I would be definitely doing a disservice to these comparisons, especially, like I said, for the deeper tones, because I haven't invested in a lot of those because they just don't suit me as well. But I'm hoping that you'll see just from the swatches here how buildable, how rich these are, how easily they can be sheared out for a really soft look, and how intensely they can be built up for a really, really impactful color on the cheeks. So hopefully these swatches will do. Now that you've seen all the palettes swatched, let's take a quick look at a little cheek application demo using the Sugar Frosted palette. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to apply the Super Shock highlighter. I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with, so I definitely wanted to give you my tips and tricks. Let's take a look at that little demo now. I'm using the Sugar Frosted palette today. This is my favorite of the 5 palettes. And for my blush, I'm really just gonna go crazy and mix all 3 of the blush shades together. I really like the color that the 2 matte blushes give me, but I need a little bit of glow, a little bit of sparkle. So adding that satiny blush called Hay Pudding just really brings it all together for me. These have been so fun to play with and mix the shades together, and because you can wear them more sheared out, you can just kind of add more on top if you decide you want to change it up. So I love a little mad makeup science every now and then, so I've really enjoyed that process with these little cheek quads. Next, I'm going to show you 2 different ways that I like to apply a Super Shock highlighter. The first way is super easy. I just dip my finger in and I kind of gently wipe instead of tapping, which I find can sometimes disturb the other makeup on my face. I like to really gently wipe first and then use like a really gentle patting motion around the edges of where I wiped that Super Shock highlighter to just blend it in and give it that really soft glowy look. This is the small fluff brush from ColourPop. These are synthetic bristles, and I definitely recommend using a more dense synthetic bristle brush to apply your Super Shock cheek products. This picks up the highlighter really nicely. I'm not going for a super intense look, but you can see I'm getting plenty of glow either way. With the finger application or with the brush application, it ends up looking just about the same for me, and these are my two most preferred methods of applying my Super Shock highlighters. In a lot of my recent ColourPop reviews, I've had a mixture of a lot of pros and cons, or I just felt sort of meh towards most things. This is not like that at all because I love these cheek palettes. I love the shade range. I love the mix of finishes. I love Super Shock highlighters, so I'm really happy to see those present in all the palettes. I like that we're getting 3 different finishes. The variety of shades and finishes in each palette makes them so customizable because you truly can mix any of these colors together, and the possibilities are so much wider than just these are 4 different shades that you could put on your cheeks. You can really customize the tone, the finish. There's actually an amazing shade range. This Sugar Frosted palette is the one that I wore today, and I do think that it looks nice on me as long as I'm making sure to mix in this deepest shade. But this is going to be great for very pale skin. That one's almost borderline too light for me, so that bodes well for all of my friends who are a lot paler than I am. Of course, we have great options for light, medium, tan skin, and then they just really went for it with a super rich, super deep palette. This is what people have been asking for ColourPop cheek products for the longest time. Here it is. It's beautiful. I'm so happy to see such a great range and a great variety of shades, tones, finishes. They're fun to play with, they're fun to mix and match. The powders aren't so pigmented that they're going to be difficult to work with, but they do layer up really well. I think you could tell from the different swatches that I showed you that these are very buildable. They're fun to mix, they're fun to play with. This is a fantastic release from ColourPop. I'm really excited about it. Personally, I can really comfortably use this one, Sugar Frosted, that you saw today, as well as Cookie Cluster, which is more of like a corally option, and this one called Extra Glazed, which is more of a pinky option. I like both of these. I really like the Smoke and Whistles highlighter. I have it in the original little Super Shock like screw top pot packaging, but I think Sugar Frosted is my favorite. I just tend to prefer these more neutrally nudie type of tones on me, and I've really enjoyed mixing and playing with all of the different shades in here. So Sugar Frosted is my personal favorite. I would love to hear what you think about these. Are you interested in them? Are you picking them up? Which one's your favorite? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! I actually blow dried my hair, so it looks so long when it's straighter like this. Don't know what to do with myself. But enough about me. Now that you, ooh, excuse me. All right, let me just readjust. I keep feeling like I'm forgetting something. Probably because I forgot to put on mascara for a while. It was before I started filming, but I was like, what am I forgetting? And then I looked at myself and I was like, it's mascara. So now I just keep having that feeling that I'm forgetting something. Do you ever feel that way? It's probably fine. Huh? Did that make sense? If you thought the little eyeshadow palettes looked like the Dior quads, wait until you see these. Great. Killing it. Smashing it. Amazing. I can't stop wearing this Prophecy highlighter from Kaleidos. Every single eye look I do, I'm like, oh, that looks cute. Maybe I'll just put a little bit of this Prophecy highlighter on top. I've done that like the last 4 eyeshadow looks I've worn. It's so pretty. And it just works so well as an eyeshadow for me. It's maybe a little bit too much for a highlighter for me personally, just for my own personal style. But I love it as an eyeshadow so much, and I just keep wearing it. Anyway, Thanks for watching. I love your face so much, and I'll talk to you soon, and I love your face. Okay, bye.